All right, welcome to Buddy Book Club. I'm Dylan, here with the only man I'd want to travel through time with, Keith. What's up, buddy?
Yep, right place, right time, D-man. Me and you, every time.
That was your catchy line?
I came up with that on the fly, so that's pretty good.
Good for you. Well, here at the Buddy Book Club, we're breaking down some bestsellers, and this week we'll be discussing Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister. Gillian, not 100%, but we're going with Gillian. If you'd like to recommend a book for us to read or reach out to us about any past episodes, you can visit our website, buddybookclub.com, or slide into our DMs on Twitter or Instagram, Buddy Book Club Podcast. You can listen to us on iTunes and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, so please download and subscribe. I said Gillian just because I listened to an interview with the author, and the only time the name was mentioned was at the beginning when the person who was interviewing her said Gillian.
He or she probably had no idea either. They're just like kind of like throwing it out there like, Gillian?
The author didn't correct them, so I'm just going to go with it. But Wrong Place, Wrong Time. It's about a woman who travels back in time to ensure her father doesn't miss his date with the Grim Reaper. Accurate?
That's one way to put it.
Did you have another way?
I think it's just to go back in time and look in the mirror. It's very vain with everything she backed up. She's like, and then my phone was different. It was like, that was the biggest things that she like noticed. She was like, I looked younger and my phone was different. The most important things when I go back in time. Oh, and my dad, I guess I can save him. That's okay.
Yeah, or not. I did think there was one somewhat profound thing that she said when she kept noticing how good looking she was in the past, which was she kind of said she spent all that time seeing her imperfections. I'm not attracted for this, that, or the other thing. And then time, which will get us all, shows her that, damn, like she should have appreciated that when she had it. So,
but we're aging like fine wine. So, I mean, if anything, you know,
those
insecurities when we were in the 20s were fine.
Yeah.
But, you know, now we're perfect.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
I was in the best shape of my life in my mid-30s, and now I'm later mid-30s, and I got fatter again just so I can then get even better shape in my 40s. That's thinking.
Yeah,
that's
what I'm doing too. You can't lose a lot of weight unless you put a lot of weight on.
Exactly.
So I mean, that's just smart, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good point.
All right, well, let's jump into some stock up, stock down. Keith, what do you have for stock up for Wrong Place, Wrong Time?
Stock up criminal meet cutes.
Pardon me?
You know what a meet cute is,
no,
right?
I have no idea what a meet cute is.
You don't watch enough rom-coms. So a meet cute is basically to do a movie or book. A story kiss can't have two people meet at like a regular meeting. There has to be some
bizarre circumstance.
So Hitch is a perfect example of that. At the beginning of the movie, those are all meet cute.
Oh, he's creating the meet cutes.
Yes, exactly. A story basically you tell people of how you met. It's like, so it's so crazy. My dog ran away and he found the dog and brought him back to me. And that's how we met. Like, that's a meet cute. And this, it's a criminal version of that. So the only way really to meet your significant other based on this book is you bump into them whilst on some sort of criminal escapade or looking into some sort of criminal activity. So we have Kelly meeting Jen when he's going over to basically talk to her dad. Her dad ends up being a criminal in this case.
Oh my God, that's so cute how you guys met.
Yeah. And then Cleo or Eve meets Todd when she comes over to like deliver a package for her from her shady uncle, quote unquote uncle, I think it is.
Yeah.
So that's the only way to meet someone. And I mean, I did the same thing. I was committing some wire fraud and, you know, light fraud on the side when I met my significant other. How about you? Were you doing that, or is it like things not going to last?
Well, no, there was no wire fraud. I mean, unfortunately, she had already been divorced at the time, but if it was a little earlier, it could have been an illicit affair kind of thing, you know?
Well, that's not criminal.
Just morally wrong, I guess.
You're more for like putting things that are in the Bible into law. Is that what you're getting at right here? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, we're stoning.
Okay.
We're stoning.
The Ten
people.
Commandments. Yeah, Ten Commandments should be law, is what you're saying, and they should be criminal.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I will covet anyone's wife, sir. My first stock up was, I mean, this is a quick one. Easy, simple. Let's start off easy and simple. But being king, stock up. Yeah, you know, they say the British monarchy, you know, it's just really like a ceremonial title. You know, they don't really have a lot of political power anymore. So it might not be that cool. You got to go to a lot of press conferences, you know, a lot of shaking babies and kissing hands kind of stuff. But I guess in England, all unclaimed property goes to the king. That's a pretty sweet deal. in America here, the municipality will just hold on to it for you until someone claims it. If your grandmother had some unclaimed property, whoever owns her trust can just go and claim it. Like the state will just hold on to it.
There's a certain amount of time before they take it, though, right?
I don't think so. I don't think there's a statute of limitations or whatever in
Really?
the United States. Like, you can go onto some websites, people should all do this, and see if you have any unclaimed property. Like, I did that, and someone said that to me. I was like, no way I have anything. I had like $700 in a HSA I opened or whatever that was just sitting there with the state. Yeah. $700 right in your pocket. So yeah, people check that out. Unfortunately, if you live in the UK, it just goes to the king. So
yeah, long live the king.
God, it's good to be king. What's the Lion King? What?
Just can't wait to be
just
king.
Can't wait to be king. Yeah, because then you get all the unclaimed property.
The king and queen are just giant lost and founds.
Yeah, exactly. They're like the gym class, except instead of like shitty sneakers, it's people's hard-earned assets.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. What else do you have for stock up?
Thinking outside the box, stock up. I think this has been one that's occurred in past episodes as well, but why does it take a physicist to believe in time loops? Is that what we're left with here? People can't go outside any sort of box and think differently. And this happens multiple times in the book. Jen is literally predicting the future, being like, oh, we've been through this day, like I'm in a time loop, this is about to happen. And then it happens, they're like, you know what, you seem stressed, you seem like you need a break. Are you tired? First of all, you D-Man, you could be like, hey Keith, like today it's gonna rain, and if it did, I'd be like, holy shit, you're in a time loop. I'd be right in. I'd be jumping in, ready to go. I don't need to be a physicist to believe in something. And that's why we read fantasy books. That's why we read these things. We want to believe in things that are a little outside the box.
Yeah.
Like these people, what is their life that they can't even imagine anything that's happening that's not irregular without being like, you're tired. I just don't care for it.
Yeah, I live a pretty standard day-to-day life that I want something wild to happen.
Right.
So if someone knocks on my door, this would be great. Some perfect stranger can come knock on my door and be like, I'm from the future, I've seen this and that, and I'd be like, no fucking way, come in. I'd be all in.
There'd be at least some follow-up questions, right? I think the example, they're like, your socks are this, they're crazy. I'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah.
It seems like you'd be at least intrigued. It's a cool thing to follow along with. Even if they're lying, I'd play along.
Someone would be like, your childhood stuffed animal's name was Teddy. And I'd be like, holy smokes, how did you know that? That's so random.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also felt like it took Jen a while, and she didn't even prompt this, it was the physicist who did, but to set up some sort of, hey, let's get through all the bullshit. Like, let's cut through the bullshit at the beginning.
It's like some rules.
He eventually was like, my imaginary friend when I was a kid's name was Steve, whatever it fucking was. I don't remember. But you think at the beginning, once he figured out the first time who she was, that they would have set that up. Like, hey, we're going to talk about this again. So is there a code I can tell you that'll make this a lot easier? And at the beginning, obviously she had a lot of stress going on. I get it. But I would have been setting that up with everybody. I'd be like, tell me something you never told anyone before. Let's cut through this. Next time I see you, we'll do this, and I'll have that. I'll have that ammunition.
The quick code word.
I did enjoy when she took Kelly out to see that car accident.
Yeah, then he still didn't break after that. He's like, well,
he's like, that's
I guess that was a car accident. Yeah, it's like, so is there anything secret you wanted to tell me that, he's like, nope, that's everything in my life's perfect. We're fine.
He could have disclosed it all right there to her, right then and there. Be like, oh, you're in a time loop, you're going backwards. Well, maybe this giant secret is probably the reason.
What I would have done is I would have been like, actually, I'm God. I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And if you don't divulge all of your secrets to me, you will be internally spited or going to hell. And then he's got to open up, right? Because you know the future. You know what's happening. You just showed him evidence, right?
Not bad. I also don't get why she didn't buy more lottery tickets. I would have definitely been buying lottery tickets.
You're not going to see it the next day, so it doesn't matter.
Well, maybe on the day when she changed everything.
You didn't know what day it was going to be.
Okay,
but, yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, there's also tons of time loops going off in different directions, so yeah.
Yeah, it was a quantum time loop situation.
Yeah.
On a similar vein, I guess my stock up is The Butterfly Effect. So, not the movie with Ashton Kutcher, although it is a good movie. I don't remember it. I just remember it being a good movie.
It's a mindfuck.
Yeah. I like those movies. So it's always made out, the butterfly effect itself, it's always made out to seem like something you should be hyper aware of if you go back in time. One small change can have catastrophic events in the future. And for those that are unaware, the idea is a butterfly flaps its wings in Brazil, then there's a monsoon or whatever. Something happens across the world. It turns out, though, that the butterfly effect, it's just not that bad. Jen decides at the end of the book to save this baby Eve, without much of a second thought. She just is like, today's the day that Eve gets kidnapped. I'm going in. I'm going to talk to Ryan. I'm going to tell them that this baby's going to get kidnapped. You would think that would have some wrinkles that would cascade through time. It turns out it's not a big deal. She still ends up with Kelly/Ryan. They still have Todd, which is pretty wild. All the situations would have to be exactly the same for you to have the exact same baby, in my mind.
It was a criminal meet cute, by the way, so just keep that in mind. That was the third one. I didn't think about that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
They meet cute, but it was around something criminal, so it still worked.
Not a ton of questions from his supervisors about how she knows this baby's going to get kidnapped or anything like that. I feel like there would have been a follow-up. But literally nothing changes except that the baby was saved. So I think the bottom line is whenever someone brings up time travel or whatever, like, oh, don't go back and kill baby Hitler because it'll change everything. It'll really just change nothing. World War II won't happen. You'll still be here. Everything's going to be exactly the same. So don't worry about how things will shake out. Go kill baby Hitler.
All right, hot take. All right, I like it. I was thinking you're going to use something a little bit less impactful, but all right.
Is that usually what people say when they think about traveling through time?
Well, that's more like the moral question. Would you ever go back and kill something evil, even if it's a child?
I mean, yeah, sure. Wait till Hitler's in a World War I trench and bayonet him, whatever the case is.
Oh, yeah. That's more moral. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, or just like wait till he's in art school and then just like really berate him so that
or you could be like, that's a really good painting. You should pursue this further.
Wow. Yeah. I think that was in Family Guy. All right, let's get into Stock Down. What do you get for Stock Down?
My 2 Stock Downs are kind of similar. The first one is the 5 Fs. Stock down on those.
Okay, I'm not familiar.
I tried to look it up. I thought this was well known, or maybe it's the 4 Fs, but remember the 4 or 5 Fs to talk to people about that you have if you just first meeting them. I never use them, but it's friends and family, firsts, fun, from, like where you're from, and favorites. Those are like the things you're supposed to go up when you like meet someone.
Sorry, say that again. Friends, family, from
where you from, where
yeah.
First, so like, oh, is this the first time I'm not really sure the first one seems a little bit harder. Fun, so we need it for fun, and then favorites too.
So why are friends and family tucked into one?
I don't know why those are in one. There should be 6 Fs.
Yeah, there should be 6 Fs. What do we do?
6 Fs. Yeah. Anyways, I would never use them, but I think it's a good conversation starter. But Kelly, he doesn't have any of these. Doesn't have any friends or family.
No, none.
No first. So I don't. The only thing Kelly has is witty banter. Apparently, like that's What are they talking about? I don't understand. The first time they meet, we're in this long conversation. What were they talking about? Mm-hmm. That's why I don't understand. He can't talk about any of these things. He can't talk about any fun he does. He does. I don't even know like any opinions of his. Like what is he doing?
Don't they also say like stupid people talk about other people, normal people talk about things, and smart people talk about ideas? Yeah.
Ideas. I like
it's
that.
It's like stupid people talk about other people.
In what way? Like gossip?
Yeah, like you just sit around and chat about other people. Normal people talk about things, like what's going on, stuff like that. And smart people talk about ideas. And I'm sure I'm butchering that quote.
Isn't that like when you're on cocaine, you do that a lot too?
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure there's lots of drugs that psilocybin, stuff like that. I'm sure you just talk about ideas and stuff like that. So, but hey, it opens pathways in your brain. Legal in Colorado. You're going there. So you let me know.
Sidebar, on Instagram, I don't know why I put this profile, but I get inundated with cocaine memes and GIFs. They're like, when the guy pulls out like the baggie at the end of a party, and I'm like, what does this mean? I don't know what's like. I'm like, all these memes, and they're all cocaine related, and I'm like, why am I getting?
How are you part of that
these?
Algorithm?
I don't know. I have no idea. That's like when I went to Cabo. I were with a group of friends. No, not one of them. Like someone came up and asked them if they want drugs. I had like 10 people be like, "Hey, are you looking for cocaine?" I'm like, "What?" They must see I have a big nose. They're like, "This guy." Yep.
That's so fun. I think you have a Kelly Ryan type situation. Mike, your alter ego or whatever, is a huge cokehead. It's as simple as that, and you're pretending to be Keith.
That and then I have like Taylor Swift memes. It's kind of weird. It's a weird
what a mix.
Dichotomy. Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, I've actually always thought it'd be fun at a social event or whatever to
use the 5 Fs.
No. Even better, the eyes. Everyone passes around their Instagram page, and people just look at your explore feed, and you try to guess whose explore feed you're looking at.
I like that.
Yeah, I feel like mine would be pretty straightforward. It's like pickleball and cooking stuff, so pretty easy. But you'd find out like the one nerdy person is like all about like big booty hoes or something like that. I would love it. Well, that was an interesting sidebar. My first stock down is writing work emails. I mean, especially when you're stuck in a time loop. But what's the point? And Caroline actually pointed this out. She also read the book. She was like, I don't understand why she keeps writing these work emails. She's going backwards in time. Like, it's honestly not going to matter. The future her is going to do it. You're going to have to write them anyways. Yeah. And like, who cares? So just don't write it. I understand like wanting to maybe like take yourself out of the situation for a minute, but go watch an episode of Seinfeld or something. You don't have to start writing work emails. Also, in real life, half the time I write work emails, I think I'm in a time loop because most people don't even read them and they end up asking the same questions that I've already answered. So all of it just doesn't make any sense. Point is, just don't write work emails. When people email you, just don't email them back. Simple as that. And if they ends up getting too far and they're like, what the fuck, you've never responded to me, be like, I'm sorry, I was in a time loop. I thought future me was going to do this. I've been going backwards in time. My bad. I'll take a look now. Simple.
Yeah, that was my first note. I would like, it'd be kind of awesome just having to call in sick every day to work and not have to worry about it for the remaining of the time loop, right? You wouldn't have to worry about any work, do any like responsibilities because it's not going to matter.
Yeah, so, 100%.
I completely agree. We've talked about this before, but 90% of the things I do, I say to myself, well, that's future Keith's problem, not my problem. Mm-hmm. You know, like I have to present Keith and future Keith, I fuck him, fuck that guy. You know.
Yeah, unprotected sex. Got you. What else did you have for stock down?
God damn it. Stock down, preparing for interviews. This kind of ties into your last episode's Mistborn, the final book there. You had a stock down for planning. Mm-hmm. But when you go to an interview, the first thing they ask you is like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, right? Kelly's answer was keeping a fraudulent undercover name, not making any friends, not ever sharing anything personal, not making a difference, even though I became a cop to make a difference. I'm going to not do shit. Mm-hmm. And then having absolutely nothing planned for 15 years later when the guy that I... 20 or 15 years from now, 5 years I'm talking about.
Oh, gotcha.
20 years later, total, gets out of prison. Mm-hmm. What was he doing this whole time? What was the point of keeping this name? He had nothing planned other than to get his son involved in it?
Yeah.
What are you doing this whole time?
It was like Ruin. It was like Ruin from the last...
That's exactly right. That's what I was
saying.
Ruin
had 1,000 years, and Kelly had 20 years to put together some semblance of a plan. But he was like, you know what? I actually have no idea how to be a painter decorator, so I'm going to spend 20 years honing my craft because I totally lied to this woman that I know how to paint, and she's going to say, oh, honey, like there's all these holes in the walls, this new house, like can you paint the wall? And if it looks like shit, then it's going to be a bad look. So I got to learn how to paint. So maybe that's what he was doing the whole time, just becoming a professional painter decorator. Is that another British thing? Painter decorator?
What's the word for it here?
Painter? Just you paint.
What are people that like build stuff called?
Carpenter?
Yeah, carpenter.
Yeah, that's carpenter's a woodworker, though.
I assume carpenters also throw some paint on there if they need to.
Yeah, I mean, sure, they'll paint some wood, but carpenter means you work with wood. I mean, just ask Jesus. Okay. Go back in time and ask him.
You don't think Jesus picked up a paintbrush once in a while? Sistine Chapels, kid. He helped with that.
16 Chapels. He was all over those. I wonder if he...
I said it right. I learned that recently. I always thought it was 16. I'll be honest.
Did you really? That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was joking. I was like, that's a total key thing, but that's amazing.
Well, I learned that like 3 years ago.
I'd love you to show up in Italy and be like, all right, this was cool. Where are the other 15? Yeah. They're like, huh? Yeah. Sir, you were just on a tour for 4 hours. That was your accent. I thought you were saying 16. Yeah. My next talk down is being a supportive parent. Just don't do it, people. Just don't do it. Jen's dad pays for her uni and pays for her training so that she can become a successful lawyer. And how does she repay him? She decides to not use her newfound superpowers, not even powers, they're superpowers. And she just lets him die. Even though she finds out that there's a way to save him. She's like, oh, there's this new therapy. This is around, or there's this new way we can deal with this. This was around in the past. All I have to do is pick up the phone and say, hey, Dad, you might want to look into this. Simple as that. They even steal a Harry Potter line as she's like figuring out the day that Eve is captured or whatever, she says, oh my God, I might be able to save 2 lives on this day, which is what they say in Harry Potter book 3. Dumbledore says it to Hermione and Harry before they use their own time turner to go back in time and save Sirius and the Hippogriff. Unfortunately, she just goes, nah, you know what? Doing this whole baby thing is changing enough already. Throwing a phone call to my dad would just be way too far. You know, that's just way too much. I couldn't possibly do that. She's like, I'm going to go in, tell my future husband and his boss, who will probably think I'm a criminal, that I know what these criminals are going to do. I'm going to do that to save this baby I don't know about. But I'm not going to call my dad and let him know that, hey, you might be sick in the future and you should look into this. Wild to me. On top of that, Ryan just disappears off the map once he falls in love with Jen. His mom, the only connection she has is her son because her other son died. And he says, nope, I'm going to leave my mom to take care of herself after he falls in love with Jen after like a half dozen dates. It's like, nope, I'm not going to even touch base with her for the next 20 years. I'm going to spend no time planning for what happens when Joseph comes out. And I'm going to just bury my mom in my mind until she eventually dies. So if you're a supportive parent, be wary. Be wary here. Because if your child's in a time loop, they will not save you.
She kept on being like, the rules, I have to follow the rules. I'm like, of what?
Yeah.
There's usually some like arbiter or some person that's like telling you why you're going through this, like the Nightmare Before Christmas. Not Nightmare Before Christmas. What's the thing? The 3 Christmases thing? Shit. Christmas past, Christmas, whatever.
Yeah.
There's usually like a person there.
Yeah. You got Basil exposition going on, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But then also, to add to your point, Jen and Kelly just shit on their son constantly. They're like, what a fucking nerd we raised. Now, this kid sucks. He's just a smart kid that I didn't understand that. They're like, it's so weird that we raised such a weirdo. Like, he's just interested in something that you're not interested in. Why does that make him weird? Like, what? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah,
like, what?
100%.
Oh, I can't understand this science stuff. I'm just going to ignore him. Like, what?
Yeah, this stuff's way over my head. You're such a loser.
What a piece of shit son we have. It's like, classic.
Dad, you're a decorator. What the fuck are you talking about?
And then she reads, first of all, your son showing you the text that he's sending to his girlfriend. Yikes.
Yeah.
Big time yikes.
Yeah.
And then you're like, what a pathetic loser this kid is. Oh, Jesus Christ. I would dump this kid.
A little nerd shaming going on at the front of this. Eventually she was like, wow, I see that he has these abilities and it's wonderful. But it's like, what? Like, he just was into science. You know what I mean? It wasn't, he wasn't into furries or something like that.
Right,
and you had to then like go to a furry convention to like understand that it's not so weird. It was like, he just likes science, which is a thing. Like, heard of it?
One of the major studies.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry that your child makes you feel stupid, but don't shame him for that. Team Todd, which we'll get into
100%.
shortly because my last stock down is me, Dylan. I am stock down.
Okay.
I like to think of myself as a moderately intelligent human being. Let's say I'm above the 50%, but not far above. That's how I like to think of myself. But I didn't see any of these twists coming. Honestly, I think I'm somewhat of a dullard because originally when I read it, I was like, oh, okay, these were just good twists, whatever the case is. And then me and the wife here were on a long drive recently, and she goes, oh, do you mind if I finish the audiobook? Because I had already finished it. I was like, no problem at all. And she had like an hour and a half left. So we're listening to it, and the second they mention Baby Eve in the past, Caroline's like, oh, is that Chloe? Is that his girlfriend in the future? And I was like, Mother Hubbard, they barely even mentioned it. So she was all over it. I was not. I felt a lot of internal sadness in my own intellect because I didn't see it coming. So can you help me out and tell me that you also
I was
didn't
hoping
see
you
the
could help
twist?
me out with this. Oh, I didn't know that twist happened until Ellie told me the same thing. I was like, oh, that's who that was? I didn't. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. But I have a few questions on that.
Mm-hmm.
One, Chloe is supposed to be the same age as Todd, right? I think she's 18.
Oh,
he's
Cleo.
18.
Sorry, I kept saying
Cleo,
Chloe,
sorry. Whatever, it's the same difference.
Yeah.
Eve is abducted as a child before they even meet. So she's born. So there's going to be at least a year to 2 years difference. So I don't really understand how they're the same age.
Yeah. Did they say
Who
they were the
raises
same
Cleo?
age?
No, well, they said she's 18. I mean, they're in the same high school. Maybe she's
No,
20,
I don't think
like
they're
two.
in the high school. She doesn't.
Oh, okay.
So he's dating an older woman.
And who's
Loser.
raising?
Wow.
Yeah. And then she's talking about how hot she is all the time. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh, look at that. Let me zoom in.
Who raises her? I don't understand that.
Yeah,
and if you're gonna go away for 20 years, couldn't you just be like, oh wow, the baby got returned, so now I'm out of prison? Like, I don't understand. Like he's going away for 20 years for kidnapping, right?
Also, it's a baby. It can't point you out in a lineup. Like, you just leave it at a police station or a fire station.
Exactly.
Blockbuster was around. Put it in the return video slot. Like, honestly, it's a baby. Put it wherever. Anyone's doorstep.
Who raised the baby? No, that wasn't explained.
His random friend who then she called her uncle. But
isn't that Joe? Isn't that who that was?
No, it was some other guy at the beginning.
Yeah, the names in this were very confusing to me.
Yeah.
Kelly, by the way, for the first 5 chapters, I'm like, who is this chick Kelly they keep on talking about? I didn't know it. I was like, who's Kelly?
Yeah, it honestly made no sense that they kept the baby. Like, it really, it's a baby.
I think that was a twist that they put in there. I think it was supposed to be that the baby died, and then she's like, you know what, let's throw this in there. The baby lived, and that's who he's dating. But it does soulmates, you know? I guess they all still stay together at the end.
Like,
they're all soulmates.
Let's just say you come up to me, you're like, hey, I stole a car. I found a baby in the back seat. Will you take it? I'd say, yeah, I'll take it to a police station and drop it off because it's a baby. Like, who wants to care for this baby that was abducted? It's just not going to work out for you.
This happened in Gone in 60 Seconds, where they steal a car and it has tons of drugs in the back. And they're like, go return the car. We don't want this shit. That's what you do.
Simple.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Nick Cage. I mean, come on.
Nick Cage knows. Pick your character. I'm going for Todd here. I mean, Team Todd, good sense of humor. Likes to play video games, super smart, willing to stab a convict who just spent 20 hard years behind bars to save his family. What else do you need? The guy's got it all.
Open to time loops, too. He was ready for the time loop questions. He was like, oh yeah, this is what I did. It's obvious.
Duh, you haven't done any of this stuff, Mom? Loser. Yeah. Who's the loser now? Yeah. Team Todd for me.
I was the physicist. He was basically
He was Basil Exposition.
Yeah, for sure.
And I like that he was like a Texan or something, at least in the way the voice actor did him. It was like a southern...
He's an American
accent or something, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Love to see that.
Yeah, we got to
respect USA.
All right, what do we love about Wrong Place, Wrong Time?
Oh, I meant to put this in the interview, prepping for interviews, but Kelly also had an interview, and the reason why she liked him is that his greatest weakness is office donuts, which... Let's be honest. That's a phenomenal answer. That's
what was that?
A home run answer. The reason she liked Kelly is he said he once took an interview and they said, "What's your weakness?" And he said, "Office donuts," which is just a great answer.
Yeah.
What a phenomenal answer.
Nice.
What would you've interviewed people. What are you looking for an answer there?
I'd be fine with something quippy. We started watching Suits. Did you watch Suits?
Yeah, it kind of falls off at the end. I really liked it though. Otherwise,
yeah, I'm sure it does. And it is. I don't watch a ton of like that type of TV show. It goes on for season. It's like episodic kind of thing. But we just kind of needed something to watch, and it was there, and it's popular, and I've heard people talk about it. So I was like, yeah, sure, we'll give it a shot. And I like that the lawyer was looking for someone that at the beginning just like says something super different in an interview. You know, it doesn't really matter. Anything crazy. If I interviewed someone and I said, what's your weakness? And they came up with something that was intelligent in a quippy way, I would be all for it. I would hope that they would then follow up with something that applied to the job. If they just said office donuts, be like, all right. Well, cool.
I like the answer. I mean, that's the difference between me and you. But I think 95% of people, their resume says they're qualified. You don't know if they're qualified. Maybe they are. But if they're like someone you want to hang out with, what matters the most?
Couldn't agree more. I mean, and most of the people that I hire are like out of college or like young people for intro jobs. In these follow-ups with other people that interview them, be like, I don't know if they have a proficient enough skill in this department. I'm like, they're 22 years old. Like, who cares?
Right. You can learn.
They're willing to learn, and they seem like a good hang. That's good enough for me. You know?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to banter with this person. Especially when you're in the office, like back in those days, I'd be like, I have to actually like, sit next to this person. Like, they better be chill. Otherwise, we're fucked.
Yeah, but that was one of my loves. The other one,
What's your weakness? Bladder. I pee every 30 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Not bad.
999.
Yeah, big
Way
fan.
better.
Big fan.
Than 911.
I forgot. I'm glad you mentioned this.
I also think 911, I a lot of times I'm like, is it 991 or 911? I mean, that's just me, or am I the idiot? Okay,
Yeah.
call me Todd. Anyways,
Someone's breaking into your house. You're like,
call 991.
911?
It sounds right.
Yeah.
991
Also,
sounds right.
Why 911? Why not
I don't know.
999? It's so much easier.
Much easier.
Why have to spend the extra time to cross over the entire keyboard or
Yeah,
keypad?
I don't
whatever
care
is?
for it.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. That was your love, was 999? I respect
That's right.
that. I respect that.
Yeah.
Well, my love is books. Heard of them? Audiobook, regular book, doesn't matter, because for this story, Wrong Place, Wrong Time, you just can't do this story without it being a book, because it is heavily reliant on you not being able to see the characters with your eyes. That's why it works. If you, like, this was a movie, the first time you saw Ryan, you'd be like, oh, Kelly's Ryan. Got it. What's next?
Yeah.
You know, be like, oh, Chloe's Eve, right at the end. Perfect. Got it. Totally. So it's an interesting thing that you can do with books that you can't do with movies.
Well, I mean, you don't get the reveal until the end, anyways, with Chloe. So I don't think that matters.
Chloe matters less.
Cleo,
but-
whatever.
Cleo,
Same difference.
fucking whatever,
We'll keep on saying the name wrong. That's a me move. What are you doing, kid?
I know. Cleo is like Miss Cleo. That's the only Cleo I know. Well, what else did you love?
I mean, I like time element books.
But that was
I've always
mine
been
too.
a fan of those. Yeah.
Or movies?
Anything you have to keep track of, anytime you're like trying to solve a mystery with like time involved, shouts to Nolan, Christopher Nolan.
Because I wouldn't really include Memento. The story is told in a different time, but it doesn't really have like a time element. I'm thinking more of Edge of Tomorrow.
Pretty much all of his books are all of Christopher Nolan's movies are time.
Oh yeah,
focused.
Tenet was super time
Yeah,
focused.
he's big into that.
But Edge of Tomorrow, that Tom Cruise movie, aka Live Die Repeat, great movie. Looper, Bruce Willis movie.
Although we don't talk about that director.
Who is it?
Star Wars director. The Star Wars 2. And
Ryan Johnson or whatever.
And he did the second Glass Onion.
Oh yeah. Back to the Future 2, Groundhog Day. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I love time as a plot device, like time situations. I think that the ones I listed did it pretty well. I think it can be done poorly. Oh, how did I forget Time Cop? Jean-Claude Van Damme. That's a phenomenal
I've never
movie.
seen that.
You haven't seen Time Cop? Oh, go back and watch that on it. That's a great shitty Sunday movie.
I did see Jean-Claude Van Damme on the streets in LA, and I walked by him and I said, "Holy shit, that's Jean-Claude Van Damme!" And the SGF didn't know who he was, and I was like,
What?
"Yeah." I was like, "Jesus Christ,
Are you
what are we
kidding
doing
me?
here?"
Bloodsport? What? Sudden death?
I remember watching his movies when I was young, and being like, "This is the peak of movies can be."
Yeah.
And if I watched them now, I'd be like, "Jesus Christ, this is the worst movie I've ever seen."
No. Bloodsport is still checks out. I mean, there's two splits, like two epic splits that happen in that movie, and it's just the Kumite. It's an amazing premise. There's this underground martial arts battle that happens in the middle of Asia, like crazy, awesome, good for him. Okay, hey, what do you got?
The first night we meet
Joseph. All right, he goes by Joseph.
Whatever. Joseph, they specifically say that Kelly is wired. He's like, I get wired up. And on the first meeting, he's like, hey, listen, if you turn me in, I'm going to come back and get you. When I get out of prison, I'm going to fuck you up. Mm-hmm. And they shake on it. And they say, me too. Wouldn't that be enough evidence right there for the police to like relocate him and help him out and change it? It's like,
no,
that's like the whole.
No, you said it. They shook hands. The handshake wasn't on the audio, so it doesn't count. Yeah, no, it's so stupid.
It's a fine line with me bring this up, but it did have the last thing he told me vibes, where the logistics and logics of some of the, like specifically Kelly, of what he was doing made zero sense. Like just no sense. Mm-hmm. Like there's 1,000 things I would do before lying for 20 years to my wife about my undercover and not having friends. Like I already brought it up, but like all these things you have to do to cover up a small lie that could be solved by numerous things, just, I don't know, it just really bugged me.
That was on my list too. I also wasn't a big fan of his thought process, assuming this fake identity for the rest of his life. Witness protection, like you said, seems like a pretty easy one. I know that they're going to be like, oh, so you would have to turn in her dad, and like you'd have to like tell her that you met under false pretenses or whatever the case was, and hope that it would work out. But the alternative, which is pretending you're a painter decorator with this fake name, that you can't travel anywhere, you can't do anything, you can't have friends, you can't see your mom, like it all, I mean, even in witness protection you couldn't either, but that seems to make more sense. Or just simply tell Jen who you are. Say, hey, I was actually investigating. I did your dad a solid by getting him out of this.
Right.
But we now have to hit the road. Like, we got to move.
Yeah, move.
Yeah, just
anywhere.
move. It's as simple as that. You just move. And like you said, Joseph still comes back for him anyways. It doesn't matter,
No.
whether he's Kelly or Ryan. He knows about Jen, so he can just go to the law office. Joseph can just go to the law office whenever he wants. So it seemed like Kelly's plan was, once he got out, to like pretend he's still in and then get Nicola to arrest him again in the future. But a lot of that just doesn't make sense, because Joseph would be like, all right, cool, what have you been doing for the past 20 years? She's like, I've been assuming this painter decorator, waiting for you to come out so we can start our criminal enterprise again. It seems like there was lots of ways for him to get out of that, and I know it obviously fucks with the narrative of the whole thing, but it just didn't seem super thought out.
The big thing, the whole story is around Todd stabbing Joseph. I still don't understand why he did it. I know Todd was looped in and told, hey, you got to stop dating her because back in the day, I'm going to tell you all these things that
he was like, I was a cop. This happened.
But why was Joseph outside their house that night? Why did Todd just take it upon himself to stab? Like, what was the reasoning there? There was no lead up to that. We know, what was her name? Angela? Was that her name?
Yeah.
We know she got beat up. We're assuming that she
I didn't remember if she got beat up or murdered or whatever.
She got like injured or something. I just don't understand. I'm like, what was the lead up here, and why is Todd stabbing her? And then why is Todd like, I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not doing it. It's like, what? Why would you do that either? I thought this kid was supposed to be a nerd. I thought he was supposed to be smart. Like, what are you doing?
It also seemed like the way it played out with Todd stabbing the guy was probably fine. Like, I honestly don't think...
Self-defense.
Yeah, I honestly don't think... Granted, he, like, walked up to him and stabbed him, but, like, she can rework that. She's a lawyer. But he might have gone to jail, but, like, it wouldn't be for that long. Like, there was this criminal who came out, and he was saying he was going to, like, come after her mom and her dad. Or, excuse me, his mom and his dad. And he just did what he thought he could do to save his family. Like, it probably would play okay in court. Unless the judge was like, oh, you like science? You're a loser. 20 years to life. Loser.
Yeah. And when they showed at the police station, wouldn't they be like, oh, Ryan, what are you doing here? Like,
Yeah. So, yeah, it's been so long. Ryan, what are you doing here? It's like, oh, I assumed this fake identity and never moved.
Yeah.
Yeah, like no cop sees him in the street, and it's just like, yo, Ryan, what's going on?
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. I thought it was a little too clean of a finish for me, because we're talking about time travel with big changes needing to happen for you to, like, quote unquote save your son. There just has to be some backlash. It worked out so perfectly with him now dating Eve, who was Cleo, and her and Ryan now living this happy life with Todd. It was, obviously her dad died, but that's how she wanted it. So it was just a little too clean with all of the moving pieces. It all works out for your family. I get it. But you come back into the now after saving Eve, and Joseph is the prime minister of the UK and has declared, like, nuclear war on Russia. Like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, yeah, okay.
That's some Black Mirror type shit.
Yeah,
that's
exactly. So it saved my family, but what the fuck? I mean, even if it works out like it did, we're presuming that Ryan now has been a deep undercover police officer for 20 years. So he's seen some shit. He's had his Donnie Brasco moment. Understandably, there could be some marital issues. Maybe she comes back and it's like, oh, Ryan's hit the bottle hard because he was with a Hell's Angels biker gang or whatever.
I like this.
He's addicted to
needed.
crystal meth or something that, Todd's okay. Ryan's had some bad stuff. He can't stop painting, decorating, and he doesn't know why. But yeah, it just something along those lines. It was also just a little weird to me.
Cleo's a meth addict because their mom's actually like gone baby gone.
Yeah, now we're talking. But she even says in this new world that she's created that Joseph gets off, right? They never catch him. Oh, we save the baby, but we never catch the criminal.
It's gone in 60 seconds. He's stealing cars. Who cares? That's not even like a big deal. Oh, I guess he's selling drugs too.
Well, that's what they said, that she's like, whatever, criminals are going to criminal. People are going to steal cars. People are going to sell drugs, whatever the case is.
So Ryan should never become a cop then.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
Yeah. How about instead Joseph is like she looks in the paper and it finds out that Joseph had like murdered a bunch of people. You know, it's like fuck, like that. You know, maybe my family's fine.
Some moral dilemmas.
But something terrible happened. So it was a little too clean and too nice for me. A little too Reese Witherspoon book club for me.
Joseph found God and became actually a preacher right after this. It was weird. I don't know how that worked.
Started a cult, became the next Jonestown. Okay, we got some listener mail. What do we got?
You've got mail.
This is from Marie, Southern California. I loved how Jen deeply appreciated her husband's juicy backside. This is for the female listeners. We have thousands of them.
Hold on. I'm interested. Go on.
I'd like to think it was a crucial strategically placed characteristic. Those are a lot of big words there. The author used to foreshadow Kelly/Ryan's true character. Do the buddies agree that your partner's juicy assets can be a light in dark times, or that they can be a mark for a great personality? Good question.
Our partner's juicy backsides can do what for light and dark times?
That your partner's juicy assets can be a light in a dark be light in a dark times, or that they can be a mark for a great personality.
Yeah, that's what Galadriel gave Frodo in Lord of the Rings. She said, here's this juicy ass,
nerd,
so it can be a light for you in a dark time. He's like, oh, Shelob's lair is just showing my wife's ass. I appreciate it. No, hey, it's always a light for me in a dark or light time. And I'm talking middle of the winter, no tan, just show me that white. Yeah, I'm down for it all. I'm into it. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about again?
I would never objectify women. That's I wouldn't do it.
No, this is appreciative of their body and brain.
Yeah, well, obviously you do, but I think Jen was the whole time, because she married a dude that's zero personality, zero friends, zero background, zero history, but he had a nice ass. So hey, listen,
yeah, that's what she was into.
I don't hate it. Don't hate the player, hate the game. You know what I mean?
That's the other thing, is she kept asking him to like paint stuff around the house so he'd get on the stepladder and she could see his butt. And he was just get on the stepladder and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no idea how to fill this hole. I have no idea what's going on. She's like, fill my hole.
Oh, he knows how to fill the hole. Trust me.
Hey, anyway. How do you think Todd came along? Do you have anyone to cast for this one?
I want some all-stars here for the casting.
Okay. I casted one person for Kelly/Ryan.
Jen, Emily Blunt, runner back.
Okay.
Girl on the Train / the Tom Cruise one you just mentioned.
Live, Die, Repeat.
Kelly, Charlie Hunman. You know,
I do know.
Looks like a painter, but also is like an undercover cop.
Mm-hmm. I had Jeffrey Dean Morgan for him.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
He was in like the second half of a portion of the Walking Dead stuff.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. He had that
tall, dark, and handsome.
Gruff. Yeah, what? Exactly. Tall, dark, and handsome.
Yeah.
Gruff. He's got a great ass, honestly. So that was a big thing for me.
That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
You know, really, that's all we're looking for the cast. Good call on that. So does Charlie Hunman. I mean, what? The only casting that really mattered for Joseph, Vinnie Jones.
Oh yeah, of course. Guy Ritchie movies.
Yeah, I've been quoting Gone in 60 Seconds, so I mean, you know, I was going to pull something out like that.
All right, Keith. Wrong place, wrong time. Gillian McAllister. Would you recommend this to our listeners?
I wouldn't. I think if you're looking for this type of book, I would first recommend Silent Patient. I think that was much more gripping and much more like the whole time tense. It never like hooked me the same that one did.
Yeah.
And then if you're looking for a good time travel book, Dark Matter I think is better than this one as well. There's two books that are better that do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I would recommend those two first.
Yeah, I think I didn't really think about it and didn't compare it to like past books we've read, which is absurd considering we've read like 50. But yeah, no, I think Dark Matter is definitely a better like exciting time travel summer read. Like that's also a summer read. You know, like almost a beach read. So I would say that. We haven't read The Midnight Library, which is also, from what I understand, like somewhat of a time travel thing. And people love that book. So I think we should add that to the list. But yeah, and I don't think I liked Silent Patient as much as you did.
I think it's top 5 for me.
Oh, shit. Yeah, okay. So yeah, you really liked it. I do think, though, that like the twists were a little more interesting in that one. These ones... You know, I wasn't, when the twist happened, I wasn't like, oh, fuck, that was cool. It was just like, nah, all right, that makes sense, I guess, you know. But at the same time, I wouldn't say, like, I wouldn't recommend it. It's a quick book. It's like 11 hours.
Yes, that's fair.
Audiobook. I think this would be a pretty easy beach read. If you were going away for a weekend, you could take this book and at the end of the book feel like, oh, okay. That was exactly what I expected. It's a middle reliever kind of situation.
Yeah, yep, good analogy.
So yeah, I'll take it as that. Do we know what we have coming up next? Oh, we're gonna We're going to do some C.S. Lewis, right?
Oh, yeah. The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, the original first book, or I guess book 2, but it's the original book, so we're doing that. It's a quick read. Should be good to go on that soon.
Yeah, Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. We're not going to do the series, that's for sure. But, it's a classic. So we haven't read a lot of classics lately. So we need to, I feel like we need to get back into that. And it helps that it's a quick read so we can keep going with more content. So coming up next, Lion, Witch, and Wardrobe. Get it at your local library. I'm sure they have a copy. Do not be ashamed of being an adult and going into the child section to get Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. And then after that, we're going to read Wool, which is now a Apple series. So if you're about to start the show, don't get the book. Listen to us instead. We'll have those coming out pretty soon. All right. Good combo. Glad we did it. And we'll catch everyone next time.
All right. Bye now.
Bye now.